Traveling to Japan can be pretty expensive. There's great food, there's accommodation, there's activities that you have to pay, but one of the things that takes up most of the budget for people is actually transportation. Unless you are staying in one specific city in Japan, you're gonna be wanting to travel around and explore different places. And that can get expensive pretty quickly. So that's why in today's video, we're gonna be looking at the cheapest way to travel around Japan. We're going to look at 3 major travel routes and we're going to compare which is cheaper, flying, by bus or by train. And we're also going to be looking at overall kind of passes that you can buy to compare which one is the cheapest. If you're new to the channel, my name is Adam. I live in Japan currently and I'm doing mostly videos on Japan, travel stuff, culture stuff, something to help you guys better understand and better travel Japan. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about the different ways to travel around Japan as cheap as possible. But before that I want to talk about the different options you have for multi-use passes. These are kind of all-you-can-use passes, all-you-can-ride passes. Let's start off with flying. Yes, there is something in that direction when it comes to flying. That is the GIL Explorer Pass and the ANA, I think it's called similar, like an Explorer Pass. Now, it isn't really a pass in the traditional sense. However, they have some really great reduced rates for flying across different parts of Japan. I'm going to link to both websites down below. I think it is timed, so it was supposed to kind of be before the Olympics and during the Olympics, but since the Olympics have been moved to next year because of Corona, I think they're going to eventually, as soon as you can travel to Japan again, extend it. Yeah, the routes are starting from 5,500 yen, which is around $50 US for a one-way ticket, which is pretty cheap considering that GIL and ANA are legacy airlines. They're really big. They're not some kind of budget airlines. GIL even has in-flight Wi-Fi on all of their in-country flights, which is great. But yeah, the 5,500 yen prices are from Tokyo to Tohoku, the northeastern region where you have Fukushima and everything, Aomori, some other places like that, and also within Hokkaido. So if you're flying from one place in Hokkaido to another, it's also 5,500 yen. Then you have the next expensive prices, which are around 7,000 to 8,000 yen. These are kind of popular places from Tokyo to Osaka, for example, and all of the other routes are from 11,000 yen. The way to get the tickets, you basically just have to have a foreign passport, so no Japanese nationals, but any other country. You have to have a visa that's valid for up to 90 days, so basically a tourist visa. The third condition is that you have to have an international flight into Japan and also an international flight out. So yeah, that's what normally, well, every tourist has, right? Again, link to the websites down below, and we're going to later, once we look at the 3 different travel routes, check out if it's worth using the pass or not. Now looking at buses, there is actually a really great bus pass by the company that's called Villa Express. Pass offers you 3, 5 or 7 days of unlimited travel within 2 months across all of Japan. You can choose whichever dates you want to use it in within those 2 months. It ranges from 10,000 yen on the cheapest end to I think 15,000 yen on the 7-day pass. They have a lot of different routes available. We're gonna look a few of those later. And also they have a lot of overnight buses, so you can actually save even more money by not staying one night in a hotel, but instead just sleeping on the bus, if you are able to do that. Looking at trains, you obviously have the really popular and really famous JR Pass, which is a pass by Japan Railway that allows you for either 7 days, 14 days or 21 days unlimited travel on almost any train that is used by JR. I think there's 1 or 2 that you cannot take, but basically any train. But unlike the bus pass, with the GR pass basically is usable from the day you activate it for that duration. So if you activate it on Monday, it's going to be usable on the entire week until the next Monday. But you cannot kind of split the days, or you cannot really vary it. So if you start traveling, you probably should continue traveling for that 1 week, for example. Otherwise, the GR pass is often not going to be worth it. Like the bus pass and also the special flight prices, this is available to foreign visitors. Again, with a 90-day visa with a foreign passport. You used to only be able to buy it overseas, but nowadays you can also buy it inside of Japan. However, it's going to be slightly more expensive if you buy it inside of Japan. I think it's maybe $30 more expensive if you buy it in Japan. So I'd recommend getting it back home, bringing it to Japan. Basically what happens is you get like a voucher that you then go to any major JR station and they will exchange it for the JR Rail Pass from whichever date you want to use it from. Again, we're going to later see when we compare the routes if the JR Pass is worth it. Now before we get to comparing the routes, I want to mention one more kind of secret pass that not a lot of foreign visitors know about, and I think some Japanese even don't know about, which is the Seishun 18 Kippu, the Youth 18 ticket. The Youth 18 ticket is a really great ticket that allows you for unlimited use of trains for 5 days of your choice. You can split the days any way you want. within the validity period, which is between 1 or 2 months. There are two major catches kind of with this ticket. One is the validity period is not the entire year, but only during like holiday seasons. So it's valid between the entire month of December, and you have it from the beginning of March until kind of the beginning of April, 10th of April, and then also in the summer months in July and August. So outside of those months, unfortunately, you cannot use it. And the second major catch is that I said that it's unlimited train rides, but it's unfortunately only kind of local trains. So local trains are the really slowest trains that stop at every station. By comparison, the trip, for example, between Tokyo and Kyoto would normally take on a bullet train somewhere between 2.5 and 3.5 hours, depending on which bullet train you get on. But on the local trains, it takes around 9 hours. And you also have to change trains around 6 or 7 times. So why should you use it? Because of the price. The ticket costs around 12,000 yen, which is around $120, and again, usable for 5 days. You basically pay around $2,600, $2,500 to pay for 1 day full of train rides. If you take the train from like all the way from Tokyo to Kyoto, that's major value. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's nothing cheaper that you can really get other than walking or hitchhiking. But again, kind of inconvenient. A little bit later, I'm also going to share a little secret on how you can get an additional 10-20% off on the train ticket, and also some other kind of tickets if you want to travel around Japan. Now that we have described the multiple use passes, the special flight offers, the Villa Express bus pass, and also the JR pass / the Jua Chikipu. Now let's take a look at the 3 routes that we're going to be comparing. So let's take a look at Tokyo-Kyoto first. Let's first look at flights. Now, as I mentioned, with these special flight offers, it's around 7,000 to 8,000 yen to fly from Tokyo to Osaka one way. So if you're looking at a return trip, it's going to be roughly 14,000 yen. Now the thing with airports and with flights is that you have to actually get to the airport. It costs additional money, it also costs additional time. We're going to be looking at starting from Tokyo Station. If you are kind of adding up either getting to Narita Airport or Haneda Airport, the 2 major airports of Tokyo, and then also getting from Osaka Airport to either Osaka Station or Kyoto Station. Kyoto does not have an airport, so you're always going to be flying into Osaka. You would be looking at around 20,000 yen all in all for the round trip. That includes the 7,000 or 8,000 yen flights. That includes all of the airport transportation. Time-wise, you will be looking at around 4.5 hours all total, getting to the airport, getting there 1 hour before the flight, flying, and then getting from the airport to the city center of Osaka or Kyoto again. Now, instead of using these kind of special offer tickets, you can also use just any budget airline. These are going to be slightly cheaper. You can get a return flight often from around 10,000 yen. So if you do add up kind of the extra of getting to and from the airport, it's going to be around maybe 15,000 yen. If you're deciding to go by bus and you take the cheapest bus option, which is going to be 3 days of use, only on weekdays though, it's going to be 10,000 or 11,000 yen for the bus pass. If you break it down by 3, it's going to be around 3,600, 700 yen per day for the bus. If you do it both ways, it's going to be 7,200 yen. And yeah, that's pretty much it, because the bus always has the advantage that it leaves very centrally. It also arrives very centrally, so you can take the bus from Tokyo Station and you can go all the way to either Kyoto Station or Osaka Station. It's going to be a roughly 9 to 10 hour journey depending on if you go to Kyoto or Osaka. But again, it's an overnight bus, so you're mostly going to be leaving at like 9 or 10 p.m. and arriving there early at like maybe 6, 7 a.m. So you basically just spend the night on the bus, you save the money for a hotel, and yeah, you just sleep on the bus if you can do that. I personally cannot sleep on a bus, so for me it's just not sleeping one night. Now the cheapest JR pass would break down to around 170,000 yen if you use it kind of one way. Both way it's going to be around 340,000 yen. However, with the thing with the JR pass, since it's valid for 1 week, you can also use it on inner city travel. So you can use it on travel within Tokyo, you can use it on some travel within Kyoto and Osaka as well. You can also use it for some day trips. So really you could probably shave off another like 30,000 yen of value that you would otherwise use. I would say that the pass is roughly going to be, it's around 130,000 yen maybe one way. Both ways it's going to be 260,000 yen or maybe $250 if you use the JR pass and you also use it for like day trips and other stuff. I have one small tip: if you want to use the Shinkansen to get from Tokyo to Kyoto Station or Osaka Station, there's a special ticket that's available to foreigners, not only foreign visitors but also any foreigner that lives in Japan that has a foreign passport, and that's the Kodama Plat ticket. The Kodama Plat is kind of the slowest Shinkansen. It takes around 3.5 hours because it stops at every station, but the ticket is reasonably cheap. You can get a round-way ticket for around 21,000 yen, and that also includes kind of one cultural activity which can be the lunch at, like, for example, the Kyoto Tower Buffet restaurant or some other restaurant in the city. It's definitely recommended if you are wanting to go just on that one trip. It's not as free as the JR Pass, so you have to decide which train you want to take exactly there and back, whereas with the JR Pass you can get on any train that you want. So yeah, if you take the very fast Shinkansen, it's going to be 2.5 hours with the JR Pass. If you take the slow one, it's going to be 3.5 hours. For the slow local trains with the Youth 18 ticket, that would be around 2,500 yen if you break it down again by day. And as I said, it's going to be taking around 9 hours to get from Tokyo to Kyoto. You're going to also have to change trains around 7 times, so you kind of lose 1 day of travel, essentially. However, as I mentioned, there's one secret. Shh, don't tell anyone. There's one secret on how you can get the Youth 18 ticket even cheaper, and that is the Daikokuya. Daikokuya means kind of big black house, but it's kind of a ticket reseller service that they have almost on every train station in Japan and also in some other places. They resell a lot of like transportation tickets, also some meal tickets and everything. I'll probably do an extra video on the Daikokuya sometime soon, but basically they just resell a lot of different tickets that people just sell them. And I actually got the Youth 18 ticket last month for 10,000 yen there. Normal price was around 12,600, 12,500 yen. So I got it around 20% cheaper, which made each ride 2,000 yen instead of 2,500 yen. So yeah, that was a great deal. So overall, the round way trip between Tokyo, Kyoto would cost you either 4,000 or 5,000 yen to use 2 tickets on the Youth 18 ticket. Also, I would not recommend this if you have a lot of luggage, because as I said, you will have to change trains often, and it means getting your luggage out of the train every time. And sometimes you only have like 1 or 2 minutes to change the train, and you have to kind of run down and get on the other platform. And if you miss it, you have to wait 30 minutes to the next train. So yeah, if you have a lot of luggage, I would not do the Youth 18 ticket slow train rides. So who wins round 1? I think for me personally, I would have to give it to the bus, because for 7,200 yen, which is not the cheapest, but it's reasonably, it's not that much more expensive than the Youth 18 ticket, but you kind of don't lose 1 travel day. If you can sleep on a bus, that's even better, because you just save on a hotel as well. If you are looking to go really the cheapest way and you cannot really sleep on a bus, then I would recommend getting maybe the Youth 18 ticket. But otherwise, the Kodomo Plat, I would say, is also kind of worth it, because for 3.5 hours for 21 or 10,000 yen one way, I think that's also a great deal. So yeah, it's going to depend, but I would give this round to the bus. So it's bus 1, train 0, flight 0. Let's go on to round number 2. Aomori is in Tohoku, which means it's included in the cheapest flight options on these flight passes from ANA and JL, which means that you can get a round-way flight for around 11,000 yen, around $100. Plus you add the cost of getting to and from the airport, it's going to be roughly 15,000 yen, around $140, $150 to get there. Time-wise, it's going to be roughly the same as Osaka, 4.5 hours. Looking at buses, unfortunately, the Willa Express bus pass does not actually cover getting to Aomori. It doesn't go all the way up there, so you cannot use that. Instead, if you're looking at normal highway buses, they're gonna cost roughly between 7,000 to 10,000 yen one way, which you can see how much value this pass is. If you don't have the bus pass, it's gonna be roughly 15,000 to 21,000 yen for a round way trip ticket. Again, same with the rail pass, it's gonna be roughly 130,000 yen one way, because you kind of break it down again by half and then you extract kind of the day trips and everything. So yeah, it's gonna be 260,000 yen both ways. One tip that I have for you is, if you wanna see whether the rail pass is gonna be worth it, whether you save money with it or not, go to the website hyperdia.net. I'm gonna link it down below. There you can actually type in like your route from to. It's gonna spit out the entire route with every change that you have to take, and it's also gonna spit out the money. If you kind of have a rough idea or rough itinerary, oh my god, I hate this word, itinerary. If you have a rough itinerary and you know kind of which, and you kind of know which places you want to visit, then type those in, see how much money it comes out to. If it's cheaper than the rail pass, then maybe just consider booking the tickets one by one. If it's more expensive than the rail pass, then maybe consider, well, getting the rail pass. It is possible to also do this trip on the Youth 18 ticket on the local trains, but it's gonna be a long ride. It's gonna be 16 hours of travel. If you miss if you make every connection perfectly. If you miss one connection, as I said, it's going to be sometimes extended by 30 minutes, sometimes by an hour. The further north you go, the less trains there are going to be. And by the way, if you want to figure out which trains you can actually take or which route you can actually take on the Youth 18 ticket, also go to the website Hyperdia, and then at the bottom there is kind of like a drop-down menu, and there you just unlock everything except for local train at the very bottom, and that's gonna spit out the route that you can take with the Youth 18 ticket, because the other trains would all cost extra money. So who wins round 2? Again, the cheapest one would obviously be the Youth 18 ticket for 4,000 or 5,000 yen. Obviously 15 hours is a lot of time lost, and especially you have to change trains often as well. It's just going to be kind of a stressful experience. But I would say is, if you decide to do your Youth 18 ticket, there is a big advantage, and that is that you will see parts of the country that no other travelers normally see, because if they go to Aomori, they will take the Shinkansen, which just speeds past the countryside and just runs one route, and if they take a plane, you obviously don't see anything either. So you will see a lot of different small town stations. You will see a lot of different interesting countryside from the train window. There's always an interesting experience. That's why I also like traveling with the Youth 18 ticket, not just because it's cheap and I'm a cheapo, but just because you see a lot of interesting things that you wouldn't see otherwise. But yeah, I would have to give round 2 flights, simply because for around 15,000 yen both round trip, it's very convenient, very easy to get there. Definitely would give round 2 flights. So it's 1 bus, 1 flight, and 0 trains. And now let's move on to round number 3. And by the way, if you're wondering why I'm wearing something different, because I'm recording this the next day. Yesterday somehow my camera stopped recording, so I have to do the last part again. But yeah, route number 3 is going to be from Osaka to Fukuoka. Fukuoka is one of my favorite cities in Japan. It has a really cool modern vibe. It also has great food. It's actually ramen capital of Japan. If you know Ichiran, famous ramen chain, they actually originated in Fukuoka. Okay, so let's take a look at flights first. Fortunately, Fukuoka in the most expensive price category of the flight passes. You're gonna have to pay around 10,000 to 11,000 yen one way. If you add it up both ways, and you also add the transportation to and from the airport, it's gonna be around 26,000 yen both ways, around $250 US. Time-wise, it's gonna be a little bit shorter than Tokyo to Osaka and Tokyo to Aomori, so it's gonna be maybe 3.5 to 4 hours. The route Osaka to Fukuoka is on the Willa Express route network with the bus pass. It takes around 10 hours. The buses usually leave at around 10 and then arrive at around 8 in the morning again. Going to cost you roughly 7,200 yen if you break down the 3-day pass by 3 days. Now with trains, instead of using the normal rail pass, there is actually a special regional rail pass called the Sanyo Sanin something rail pass. I'll put the name down below, I forgot what it's called. But basically for 20,000 yen you get a pass that allows you to travel from Osaka to Hakata Station, Fukuoka, and everything in between within I believe a 1 week period. And so if you break it down, it's going to be roughly 10,000 yen one way, 10,000 yen back. And again, you can use it for 1 week, also to any other station in between, like for example Izumo or Matsue or some other interesting places in the Chugoku region, Hiroshima for example. Again, this trip is also doable on the cheapest Seishun Juachi Kippu on the Youth 18 ticket. It's going to be again 5,000 or 4,000 yen both ways, but it's going to take again 13 hours to go from Osaka to Fukuoka. Unless you're starting very early in the morning, I don't think you're gonna lose 1 travel day essentially. So who wins round 3? Again, cheapest option would obviously be the Seishun Juachi Kippu. Bus is not bad as well, but I think for this run I'm gonna give it to the train, especially to the Sanyo Sanin pass for 20,000 yen, which is a really reasonable price. You can go all the way from Osaka to Fukuoka. I forgot to mention it's 2.5 hours one way, which is also a really fast time. And you can also stop kind of on your way back or on the way there in any other city, like in between. You can go to Hiroshima, you can go to some other places in the Chugoku region. And there's a lot of interesting places that a lot of foreigners don't actually visit. A lot of off the beaten path destinations as well. So if we tally the 3 rounds, it's going to be round 1 went to the bus, round 2 to the plane, and round 3 to the train. So we have an even tie at the end. So I think what it comes down to is really the destination that you want to travel to. Sometimes it's cheaper to go by bus, sometimes it's cheaper to go by train, sometimes it's cheaper to fly there. But I hope with this video you kind of gained a few ideas as to which options are available when it comes to multiple passes. And if you have any other questions, please ask them down in the comments below. If you want to know any other kind of tips for any travel route or any other travel tips in general. And also please let me know if you want me to make some more travel tip advice and some other travel videos. Yeah, again, hope this video was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.